Mike Galime, good
for
morning.
positive things as usual.
Wow, what in the hell is going on? Last night was heated, man.
No, it was. Last night's meeting was very difficult, to say the least. It all started with 2 people not showing up. Only had 7 people present.
Would you say that was by design? Those two
You
probably...
could say it was by design, but no matter what, people who don't show up are going to say they're sick. They had something going on, so it's a moot point to even bring it up.
Dizzy was maybe thugging and then being thuggish with them,
holding them hostage somewhere.
Yeah, had a black minivan with tinted windows outside the house. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. No. So no, that's what kicked it all off. We had 2 people missing. A lot of people showed up during public comment. People were very well behaved.
Yeah.
And then it just escalated. But essentially where everything went sideways was, of course, the motion to reconsider got a 4-3 vote. And that ended up in a big argument. Judge went through many different iterations of why the 4-3 vote wasn't a pass. We're a 9-person body, so 5 people have to show up in order for any legislative acts to take place.
5 people not have to show up, have to vote affirmatively.
I'm sorry, yes, you're correct. It's 6:40 a.m. No,
I'm sorry, and I give you credit because you were there even later than I was. And I said, can you do 6:40? I'll be there,
sure.
You said. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
But any legislative act, if you have a body of 9, that means 5 people have to vote in the affirmative for that to pass, because you can't act without your fellow council people. However, the motion to reconsider was simply a motion, so that was the debate last night.
You disagree with the judge. I would say you agree with the judge, 98% of the time? You disagree on this?
So last night I didn't necessarily disagree with the judge.
You did. He said it failed because all legislative action needs 5. You said a law needs 5, but a motion needs only a majority.
That is what I stated. However, the result of last night's meeting is that there was a motion. I called basically for someone to make a motion to postpone. Because either way, last night, if what happened last night happened and we postponed it till the next meeting so that we can actually look, or let's say the 4-3 vote carried and then they voted on the reconsideration and reconsidered the actual term limits vote itself, in either case, today, I would be doing what I'm going to be doing this afternoon. I'd be talking to NICOM because I want to be with something this contentious that could turn people that crazy. Anyone who was there, anyone who watches the news, the meeting was absolutely insane by the end of the meeting. I want to be absolutely certain, 100%, and not just rely on one person's legal opinion that 4-3 vote should have carried or should not have. And that's the case. Basically, what's going to happen, I'm going to call NICOM. I'm going to research this at the head of the next meeting. I'm going to say, hey, the 4-3 vote carries or the 4-3 vote doesn't.
If you discovered that it could have, could you then adopt that 4-3 vote?
Well, and that's the thing. Someone made a motion to postpone. At the beginning of the next council meeting, this will be unfinished business.
Okay.
If I talk to NICOM and I research this and I find secondary confirmation that a 4-3 vote for a simple motion, Robert's Rules motion, cannot carry because it's not 5 people in the affirmative, at the head of the meeting, I'm going to say this is done. It's a dead issue.
It's a dead issue.
Yeah.
And again, the vote last night was a motion to reconsider the law. It
The
wasn't
one,
on the actual term limit law.
Exactly. The whole vote that caused all that ruckus was the simple motion, not the reconsideration vote, just the vote to reconsider.
Which the 2 absent council people we know probably wouldn't have voted for.
Would you agree with that? This is a dead issue.
The 12 to 8.
Even
when someone doesn't show up, if they aren't showing up because they don't want to vote, you don't know how they're going to vote. Because if someone doesn't show up because they don't want to vote, that might mean that they were going to vote yes and they don't want to be pressured to vote no, or it might be just the opposite. That's the problem. That's why I wish people would just be present.
Kind of hard to believe.
Would just be present.
The fact is, these 2 both voted for the mayor's version of this.
Yes, exactly.
Before. And
would most likely have been a vote for the no on the actual... But I don't know that they would have voted against the reconsideration vote. Because most times what happens is people will bring a piece of legislation out, but then vote no. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, that's what started it all along. 2 years ago, Councilman Marino is the one who made the motion to pull this original legislation last year out of committee. He's the one who brought it out onto the floor.
Yeah.
Okay, and allowed the council to add 4 years to term limits, but at the actual vote, he voted no.
Who was out of line last night? Oh, did anybody owe apologies from last night?
No, everyone was just calling me names. There was no apologies. Yeah.
No, listen, I've said this before. I've said this 100 times before. I know you agree. You live this. All due respect to the what is the free concert series in Utica?
The Levitt Amp concert
They've
series.
got nothing on the Utica Council Meeting. I've said this for 15 years. It's the best free entertainment you can find in the city.
Would come. No, but
Listen, people act totally inappropriate, and I don't even want to start naming names, but to be shouting from the gallery. I was actually surprised
this
to
wasn't
see
just
Luke
the council
Ricatelli
acting like this.
and Jim Zecca.
There was a whole pile of people in the audience. There was just disrespect all around.
Jim Zecca shouting,
And it was aggravating.
Normally,
shouting BS from the gallery is just. I mean, come on, and I'll give you credit because you said sometimes when you make statements, you get a standing ovation, and you said, "I don't want applause, I don't want booing. Let's kind of act like adults here.
Well, that's
We're
the
trying to
problem.
move this forward."
To be perfectly honest with you, when people clap and they're like, "Yay!" that drives me absolutely crazy. No different than when people are being disrespectful because
right.
it's both. It's both. Even though something is positive, you don't require that feedback at that moment,
Right.
and it's not part of the process. I'm glad that you are happy, but it's politics.
Save it.
It's government. Save it. Yes.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, this term limits thing is pretty much over. I mean, I understand it's not, but it's
for this year,
it's pretty much over.
No, for this year, it is. The reality is those petitions are going to get certified, and most likely they did a good job at the first round of signatures. They absolutely did a good job at the second round. They're just not certified yet. It'll probably go on next year's ballot. And last night there was discussion, could it go on to a school board ballot? You know, does it have to be a general election ballot? And that was a good question from somebody. But right now it looks like it's going to be on next November's ballot.
I don't think I've ever seen so you basically do a special election, but you tack it on to a school board election so that it wouldn't cost as much money.
And then that would be just as much controversy because not many people vote.
That would impact
board.
the mayor's race next year if it were to go on a school board election.
Well, it's not just the mayor's
ballot.
race. I believe it's the controller's
that's
race.
true.
Yeah.
It's some of the council people. If it goes on the ballot next year, you're going to have multiple people running for re-election who have a ballot measure that could potentially make them not be able to take office.
Or are they grandfathered in? There's a question for Mr. Garamone.
Yeah, there's a question as to whether when, for instance, Palmieri, when he first ran for the office of mayor, it was 8 years. But then there's a question of, well, it was changed during his tenure. So can he run for a third term, or is he bound by...
Every term is mutually exclusive.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is.
But this would be different, though. This would be you're running in a current election, which could turn which could make your running I don't want to say illegal, but
null and void.
Null and void.
So, I mean, the reason we're talking about this right now is the way the law is written that'll be on the ballot. It's effective January 1st, 2019. That doesn't carry over. So in November of next year, there'll be a local law that's effective January 1st. And people are saying, "Oh, well, that doesn't count." Well, when the whole salary debate came up, okay, they had no problem passing a local law that could retroactively raise people's salaries and get retro pay based on a local law that was retroactive.
So, but if you're the mayor and you're running and you would be in violation of term limits if you were elected and if this proposition passed,
potentially, which would be another battle.
That would be
legal
a
battle.
Or would it be for new candidates then elected
That's what
at
I'm
that
saying.
time?
Yeah.
Well, that would be
crazy.
You might have to write that into the proposition, and if it is written in that it is effective,
written. That's the problem.
Oh.
The petition's already in.
Okay.
Right.
If they certify these petitions, the local law goes for consideration.
However it was written before.
However it was written.
So that would dissuade anyone from running. It would dissuade Mayor Palmieri from running, although I can't imagine he wouldn't run.
I don't know who's running next year. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Crazy.
Are you
Let me ask
running?
you a question. Judge Garamone's job, he represents the council. He's there to advise the council on you're acting within the parameter of the law.
Judge Garamone is special counsel, the way it's written, to the council.
So
if
council.
the council requests his legal opinion,
Yeah.
he gives a legal opinion to the council.
Have
The
you ever seen
legislators-
someone kind of snap their fingers and say, "Go fetch me proof of your opinion"? Does that typically happen? I was surprised to see that last night.
Who did that?
It was Councilman Marino. Now, here's the thing. Yes, I have seen it multiple times. It's a parliamentary inquiry, if you want to be sure, you're going to vote, and you're elected to vote. If you want to be sure about something,
you have the
I don't
attorney
care what the question is. You have them check it out. That was the whole thing last night was ridiculous all around. The other thing that I did not appreciate is I was attempting to drive the meeting, which I ended up doing through all the nonsense, to basically say, look, we need a motion to postpone, because if we make a decision on this tonight without actually verifying this, the chaos is going to be even worse.
Yes.
Okay. And now what we can do is verify what's supposed to go on, and at the beginning of the next meeting, there's no arguing here. Everyone could just bite their lip.
Get ready for the booze.
Yeah, just bite your lip. Well, they could boo, but I guarantee at the head of the next meeting, the council people will be absolutely, proper, and whatever kicks that off, they will accept and move forward.
All right. Well, this has been quite an issue, but telling us that the current signatures could work for next year's ballot is the question that's the question that we had earlier and didn't have an answer to. So we learned a little.
Well, no, that's absolutely how it works.
Beautiful.
Yeah. They wouldn't have to do it all over again.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Mike Galime, thank you.
Thank you.
And,
nice job. You
have a good
patience
day.
of a saint.
Thanks for the entertainment last night.
Yes, you're welcome.
Oh boy.